Here we go. All right. Just so you guys know, my name's Allie Diliberto. I am right now living in Montana, and I have been using doTERRA for 8 years, and I've been doing this as a business for 6 years. And this is, like I was just saying, such an exciting class. So I want to jump right in so we can get as much of April as possible. So April is, just to give you a little introduction, really an expert in both pet care and essential oils. She has a business called Whiskers and Wags, where she takes care of animals for people. And she also has all kinds of different certifications with aromatherapy. And April, maybe you can just jump in and share, like, how do these two loves show up in your life?
I've been working with animals and companion animals for over 25 years. And in 2006, I was introduced to essential oils in a certification class for aromatherapy. And I'd always been excited about it, but didn't really know much about it. You know, everybody has the lavender to help calm and, you know, peppermint for an upset stomach. But I really wanted to get more into that. And when I took my certification course, which was over several different weekends, 10 different weekends, then I started learning the world of essential oils and how they could just do so much more than just make your house smell good, or, you know, to help with tummy ache. And so then I combined those two loves together, and I created a business called Pet Essentials that I ran from 2007 to 2010. And then, you know, things just kind of petered out. I moved and stuff like that. But I just loved how the dogs just responded to the essential oils and how they just improved their lives and how it was just really wonderful for them.
And we are going to get to share at the very end one of your personal recipes with everyone who's on call today. So I'm excited for that. Okay, so we want to talk really about what's happening in life right now with people and their puppies specifically. So can you tell us, like, what are you hearing and what are you noticing? What do we need to know about our dogs during this COVID?
Well, I'm getting a lot of questions about my dog's gaining weight, and because they're not getting as much exercise because the dog parks are closed, or I don't really want to go out around people. And, you know, there's lots of different ways to exercise your dog while you're staying at home. You can play with them in the house, play tug, throw the ball, and it helps with mental acuity as well. And you know, that way Fido's not bouncing off the wall while you're trying to have a teleconference or a video conference for work. But mental stimulation is also as exhausting for dogs as, you know, exercises. So maybe a treat puzzle, or hey Della, treat puzzle, or, you know, hiding treats somewhere, or teaching them a new trick. And that 15 minutes of that is almost worth an hour of exercise. And then
Awesome.
nutrition, you know, don't, I know it's, you know, you're home with your dog all day, you're sitting there watching Netflix, don't throw them chips or give them extra table scraps, because it's just going to make them gain weight. So, and then the other question I get a lot is grooming. Like, a lot of people are like, my groomer's closed and I don't know what to do. Like, my dog's looking shabby and stuff. And brushing is the number one thing. Your groomer will love you at the end of this when you can get them back to the groomer, is to make sure they just get brushed
And how
out.
often do you recommend doing that?
I recommend brushing like at least once a week, but if you've got like a doodle or a husky or something like that, just a nice daily brushing, and they really appreciate it because you're giving them that attention, they're getting that full attention from you, and it helps with bonding. So, and you can use essential oils in that as well. If they hate to be brushed, you can use a calming blend on them and massage it into them and just make it a really pleasant, lovely experience.
Oh, that's awesome. Those are some really good pointers and ideas. Can you, you touched on essential oils a little bit, and we're gonna kind of move into some of talking about that, but I'm for those of us that don't know, like, what is aromatherapy when you think about it just in general and then specifically with our pets?
So aromatherapy is the use of essential oils to help with the body, mind, and spirit. And it works on a holistic level. So it's not just working on one particular level when you're using an essential oil. And that's the beauty of essential oils, is that it's working on multi-levels of the pet or for yourself.
That is a fantastic explanation, because I think you say aroma, and I mean, we just think like, how does it smell in the house, and what's going on with it. Okay, so as we were preparing for this class, I got to ask you a million questions, and it was one of the most fun things I've gotten to do in a long time. So we're just going to do the same exact thing, and I'm going to share. So we just have a couple graphics, not the whole time, but just for a few minutes here. I'm going to screen share this image. So when we start teaching people how to use essential oils in general, these are the three things we typically want people to know and think about. So the first is we really want people to think about safety. Oils are not all created equal. And we would like people to start thinking, like April just said, about things being holistic. But with people, we know we can use oils 100% safely that are natural, and we won't see side effects like we do with prescription drug use. And that's because they're just extracts from plants. They're extremely pure and potent. So for example, 1 drop of peppermint tea is the equivalent of 28 cups. 1 drop of peppermint oil is the equivalent of 28 cups of peppermint. So extremely powerful. And then with doTERRA essential oils, we have a quality standard that we call certified pure therapeutic grade. And what that means is that every bottle is consistent. We test the oils more than 50 times from the time they're sourced until the time they're last bottled. And the quality is unheard of throughout the entire world. And so I have 2 questions for you, April. Can you tell us a little bit about your specific experience with doTERRA and the safety and how you feel? And then I want to ask you a specific question about dogs.
Okay. One of the reasons that I decided to start using doTERRA essential oils is because of the vitality of it. When you open up a doTERRA essential oil and compare it to maybe an essential oil you got at Earth Fare or another store, the vitality is just so much more expressive in your nose, and just the feeling. The integrity of the oil is amazing to me. It has been tested, and what I love about it is that they source it at the source. So they're not trying to grow a lavender field in Utah. They're actually going to where lavender grows naturally, and they're helping the community around that lavender field, and it's sourced in that area. So it gives it a higher integrity than some of the other oils that I've had. And, you know, I've done classes where I'm at my house before all this happened, and I've let them smell the 2 different oils, and everybody's just amazed at how doTERRA just smells so much cleaner and pure.
Yeah, I love that. We're kind of missing some of that like personal experience where we can hand around bottles, but we'll imagine for today. So when I was a kid, I thought we were gonna have smell-o-vision, but we still haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, scratch and sniff.
So let me ask you, with dogs, when we think about safety and using oils, of course, the quality of the oil is super important, but can you tell us what other things do we need to know about using oils with our dogs that are different than just thinking about people?
Well, you definitely want a good quality oil, because if it's an oil that has been cut with something else, then you don't know what that something else is, and that can be dangerous to your dog.
Especially even with dogs, right? Because the sensitivity is so much more than even sometimes what people are used to.
Definitely. The other thing you want to make sure of is you want to dilute. So it's safe for us to use lavender essential oil, neat is what they call it, directly on our skin, but not with a dog. Their skin is so much more sensitive. And then their nose is 100 times stronger than ours. So what might smell normal to us is going to be overpowering to a dog. So diluting is very important.
Okay, perfect. It's kind of like what I think about working with kids or elderly people, like they're more sensitive and you almost always dilute the oils when we're using them. So that's
Correct.
good. That's really good to think about. I know you have some more pointers for actual use in a minute. Okay, so now on to effectiveness. One of the things with essential oils is that they're extremely effective and that they often work better than other options that we can even get from the doctor. And the reason for that is they're natural, and how our body is designed to use them works really naturally. You'll see in this little graphic a picture of a cell, and it's just pointing out that the outside of the cell membrane cannot be penetrated by things that are water soluble, if you remember back to high school biology. And things like viruses duplicate inside the cell. So essential oils can actually be absorbed into the cell and help promote healthy cell generation and healthy cell growth. So they can actually be quicker, more effective than a lot of our options. And I found with our animals in our family that they've given us more options than we had for some of the things before. So anything about that specific to animals that's unique?
No, it works the same with animals as well. Their cells are pretty much the same as our cells. And that's one of the things that I love about essential oils is that they can permeate that oil membrane to get into the cell to be able to heal things or change things at a cellular level, which is a beautiful thing for essential oils.
Love that. Okay, I'm going to totally divert a little bit because we're talking about this during the COVID crisis. There's a picture of On Guard here under effectiveness, and On Guard is one of our blends. And when we were getting ready for this, you were talking to me about one of the things that you love is the synergy of how our blends work, and that you had really been digging in and studying it. And I just loved that. But On Guard works in two super cool ways on people. It works because it's super powerful for killing pathogens. It promotes healthy immune function. It's great for a sore throat, cleaning the home and the hands. We have a whole product line designed around On Guard, and it's of course flying off the shelves right now. You're only allowed to purchase one bottle at a time right now with your doTERRA orders because it's been so popular and they want to make sure everybody can get it. What do we think about when we diffuse On Guard, we use it topically, we use it to clean surfaces, anything relating to pets and how we would use On Guard in our home that we might not know about?
As far as pets, On Guard is an amazing essential oil blend. The synergy of it is beautiful, and it smells really good. It almost smells like Christmas. So it's a really great smelling essential oil. And I've been using it because nobody can get hand sanitizer right now. I've been using it in hand sanitizer and helping out my community with that. The only thing I would say is it is a strong smelling oil. And if you're going to diffuse it in the house, just make sure it's someplace where your dog, if it becomes overwhelming to your pet, they can get away from it. So don't lock them in a room with a diffuser, but allow them to be able to get out of that room if it becomes too much for them. But it's great for boosting that immune system and killing pathogens, and it's just a really great oil blend.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's really good to know. Okay, last little topic here with the three important things are that essential oils are super affordable. They're more effective than traditional medical care options. We're just looking at using pennies per dose. And when I think about that, I think about my son used to have chronic ear infections, and we went to the doctor over and over for prescriptions. And then we started using essential oils, and just a couple drops. I mean, it literally cost me like less than $1 to end something that he had chronically for a year. What kinds of things do we think about with animals and the value we get from our essential oils?
Well, that is a good point, because one of the things that I used to do with pet essentials is I used to be able to go into somebody's home and something that a vet could not cure, like they've thrown all kinds of antibiotics at it, or they've thrown, all these different medicines at it. And I can go in and do a synergy blend with the essential oils and be able to fix something that they couldn't even touch because they couldn't figure out what the right combination was. We have, I used to make a product called yeasty ears, and it was very diluted, but it had different essential oils in it that we put in the ears because Cocker Spaniels and Labs and they all are prone to those yeasty ears that are chronic all the time. And for, you know, a $5 bottle of yeasty ears, which was super diluted, you know, it fixed what they'd spent 80 or 90 or $100 on for antibiotics that wasn't touching it. So it is very affordable.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, now I'm sure everybody wants to talk about how to use essential oils. So I'm going to share a different graphic, and we're going to talk about them each specific thing. So the first is aromatically. We already talked about that, and I love what you said about diluting the oils and leaving the door open. It's such a great way to see if the animal likes the smell, because they'll just leave the room if they don't like it. And a diffuser, like, I don't know if you can see mine running in the background, but you just put some water, and then you put 3 to 5 drops of essential oils, and it runs most of the day, depending on your diffuser. But that actually keeps the oil circulating in the air, and it dilutes it enough, like what you were talking about with animals, like it gives us that nice ratio.
Yes.
And then we think about it cleansing the air and promoting, you know, healthy respiratory function. Anything unique about animals and using oils aromatically? Do we see the impact on mood that we see for people? Is it different? Like, how does it work?
Yes, I have, if you do a calming blend, I used to run a kennel, and sometimes we'd have new dogs that would come in and they'd be a little sketched out about the new environment and the new routine. And I would just diffuse a calming blend into the kennel at night. And it was, you know, it was big, wide open space. So there wasn't any worry about it being too much for them. And where, if I wasn't diffusing it, they would be super restless all night long, and they would keep me up. They would calm right down and go right to sleep, and you could see just a huge difference in them in just that small amount of time. So I definitely think it causes a mood change. We've had breeding kennels before, and one of the essential oils that we use for that is marjoram. And marjoram is great for unwanted male, unfixed dog behavior. And that seemed to work very, very well as well. So that kept things a little calmer in the breeding kennel. So.
Oh, what a great pointer. I love that. Okay, let's talk about topical use. Now, we already know we want to dilute, and I wanted to touch a little bit on, we usually tell people you can dilute with any kind of a carrier oil. doTERRA sells an oil called, here, let me show you. This, which is fractionated coconut oil, and it's basically the same kind of coconut oil you'd get from Costco or wherever, health food store, but it has the fat removed. And I love it because it doesn't have any other scents in it. It's really light. I know with my dad, he puts this in his hand and just puts a couple drops of oil and rubs it in his dog's coat, and it's a nice way to just easy dilute and use. And based on what you said before, like topically, like we almost always want to dilute when we're working with oils with our pet.
Correct. One of the things I love about fractionated coconut oil is it does have the fat removed out of it. So it's not going to stain your furniture. Like if you put it on your dog and they jump up on your couch, it's not going to stain your furniture like some of the other oils will. I know I have a lot of massage therapists that use it because it doesn't stain the sheets that when they are massaging somebody. And it takes the smell out of it. So then you can add your oils in without there being that coconut smell on the back end of it as well. So, which is really nice for that. There's a whole gamut of carrier oils that you can use, and they do different things, but fractionated coconut oil is the multi-purpose oil to be able to use, and the dogs don't seem to mind. It doesn't make the coat greasy like some of the other oils will, and like I said, it won't stain your furniture, so it's a great oil to use like that.
No, that's a really great pointer, because I wouldn't have thought, like, yeah, you probably don't want to dilute with olive oil when the dogs didn't jump on the couch. What reasons would we use oils topically with our animal?
I used to use oils topically for itchy skin. A lot of times they'll get that eczema dermatitis that makes them super itchy, and they start losing fur because they're digging all the time. So I'll use essential oils that way. Another way is if you've got maybe some hip dysplasia and an older dog and those hips are really sore, you can do a massage with essential oils and a carrier oil and help loosen up those hips. I've seen great results with that. I also used to use, the topical flea treatment. I used to make a topical flea treatment with essential oils. You have to apply it daily because essential oils are volatile and they're not going to stay on the coat for any length of time. But so I used to use that as well, and I would put that in a fractionated coconut oil so that they could put it on there same way that you would do like Advantix or Advantage.
Okay, that's great. I was trying to think about, so I have one little story about topical use that my dad, which kind of borders on topical and internal use, but my dad has a bull terrier, and they sometimes they have terrible gas. It's just typical of the breed. And he takes a little bit of Digestin and he'll put it on the dog's paws. And he already knows, because he's been doing this with his dog, that the dog really likes it. And the dog will just lick it off her paws. And I love that because she gets to absorb a little bit in her skin, and she also gets it and calms her tummy when she's super gassy, and it's worked really effectively for them. That's my only real story that I can think of with topical.
Well, it's nice that you mentioned dog paws. So that's a great way to get an essential oil into a dog, because their paws are very absorbent.
Just
and that's
like
why you have to be really
even
careful.
though they're so much tougher.
Yes, that's a very absorbent area. That's why you have to be really careful using lawn chemicals that your dog's going to walk on and stuff like that, because they're absorbing through those pads.
Wow.
So it's a nice way to get it on them, especially if they aren't liking the smell or something like that. And honestly, there's so many essential oils that do the same thing that if your dog does not like the smell of one, there's probably another essential oil that does the same thing that your dog might tolerate a little bit more. And they'll let you know. I mean, if you hold an essential oil up to them and they back way away, then that's not the oil for them, and just find something else that they like.
Because the chemistry, a lot of the chemistries are very similar, right? So they don't like one, we can still get the same effect with something different.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so internal use with people, we think about typically if you'd be looking for something you might be taking a pill for anyway, upset stomach, general cleansing, lemon oil in your water. I'm drinking lemon oil in my water today. We put oils under our tongue to promote immunity. Every time we go out of the house, we're using On Guard under our tongue right now. What do we think about with internal use for pets?
Well, you'd already talked about them licking it off their paws, so that's a great way to get it internally to them. Another thing is like car sickness. I've had a lot of clients that have had their dogs just get car sick. And what I tell them to do is just stick a drop of peppermint and maybe even a drop of ginger onto a dog biscuit and let them eat it. And usually they start seeing that starts subsiding. And I tell them to do it about 30 minutes before they're going to get in the car, because that gives that time to work and activate with them. And that seems to be super effective. Also for gassy dogs, cardamom is great for gassy dogs, and so is peppermint, and it helps to freshen the breath. So we've all had those dogs that have death breath. You're just like, please don't give me kisses. But
no,
it really
I have a question. With that, my dad, I'm thinking about my dad because we were just with him, but he brushes the dog's teeth every day religiously, and still the dog has terrible breath a lot of times. Can you put a drop of peppermint oil on the toothbrush and just use it like that also?
Definitely, yes. And probably more than likely he's got a gingivitis or an infection in there, and that's why it keeps going. A drop of myrrh also would be amazing because it'll kill any of those nasties that are in there. I've seen people actually avoid a root canal because they used myrrh essential oil to kill all that nasty bacteria. So
Oh, that's awesome.
myrrh is an amazing oil too. It's like expensive, but it's an amazing oil.
It's one of those that's like worth having around for when you're
Yes.
really specifically going to go for it. Yeah, I think that's great. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, now that we know the 3 ways to use oils and some general information, I want to talk about our top 10 oils, and I'm going to go out of the screen sharing in just a second. This is a picture of our top 10 oils, and we've already touched on a couple of them, but I want to know, I know how these all work for people, but I want to know how they work for animals. So first we have the diffuser in the picture, and you already said totally safe to use in the house. One of the really recommended things with pets because of the dilution and air quality, all those things.
Right.
Let me ask you about, so we talked a little bit about peppermint, so we know, same with people, digestive issues, all those kinds of things. On Guard, we've talked about lavender. What do you think about, especially with pets and lavender? We think with people, all things calming, skin issues and mood and sleep. What do we think of it with animals?
Lavender is one of those all-purpose essential oils. So I have seen it work beautifully in calming pets. I've seen it work beautifully in inflamed skin conditions. Yeah, I have mine right here too. Inflamed skin conditions. I have seen lavender is usually my go-to oil in most blends that I'm doing for a pet because it's got so many antibacterial, antiviral, anti-itch qualities to it. Wound care, lavender is amazing for wound care.
Okay, good to know.
So yeah, if you've got a wound, a little colloidal silver, some lavender, and just put that on some gauze and pack that in there, and I've seen amazing things where it looks like it's a really bad wound, and then I take the bandage off 2 days later and it looks like it's been healing for a week. So
Okay, that's great. Okay, now what about frankincense? Something we use with pets or just with people? Like, we think of it as the king of oils, that it's great for, it's a personifying oil, so it brings out the qualities of the other oils, and it's super healing to skin, great for healthy cell growth. Like, what do we think about it with pets?
so
And
frankincense,
also we think about it with focus for people, so now I'm curious if it works for that with pets.
I've never used frankincense for focus with a pet before, but I have also seen it very, very much help with skin tags or those little warts that dogs get, and that seems to take those away pretty good. It's one of the sacred essential oils, so it has a lot of healing qualities to it. It's great for elderly dogs who need that immunity boost or that just to help to energize them a little bit more, give them a little more energy, a little more clarity. I have a 13-year-old Australian Shepherd downstairs right now, and she has her days where I'm pretty sure she's got dementia, like she's just staring at a wall. And if I diffuse frankincense, she seems to be a little more alert than she was before. So that seems to help her a lot.
Okay,
But yeah, frankincense, and it smells so good. I love the smell of frankincense.
I do too. That's great. Okay, now I'm going to ask you about 2 oils that I think I usually go for one or the other at the same time. So I think of tea tree oil and oregano, and I always kind of think of like tea tree as the gentle little sister of oregano. So many uses, like good for cleansing, super gentle on the skin. And I think of oregano is a hot oil, so on the skin it's hot and warming, but also a super strong natural antibiotic. How do we use those with pets?
So tea tree is great for any fungal infection. Anything that's like ringworm is a fungal infection, and dogs get ringworm. I've seen it several times. Horses get ringworm as well. It's great for putting in an ear blend if you don't know what's going on in the ear, putting it in a carrier oil, just a couple drops with lavender and bergamot, and it'll kill. So lavender will kill anything that's a bacterial infection. Tea tree will kill anything that's a fungal infection, and bergamot is great for yeast. So anything that's going on in that ear, it's going to take care of it. So tea tree is amazing for that kind of stuff. Oregano is a hot oil, so you want to use it very sparingly with pets. The thing that I've had the most success with using oregano with and thyme is hot spots. So a hot spot can be the size of your pinky, and by the end of the day can be the size of a pancake. It just is a really aggressive bacteria that happens. And I used to use a hot spot healer that had just 1 drop of oregano oil in it or thyme oil in it, and it would take it away like that. I mean, people would swear by that hotspot healer all the time. And Lily, who I was talking about earlier, she has a terrible flea allergy. So if she gets bit by 1 flea, she turns into a big hot spot. And I've used it successfully with her, just catching it really early, and then it just, goes away before it turns into something really major. So, but yes, oregano is a great oil, but must be used sparingly because it is a very hot oil, and you want to use it for those things that are aggressive.
Okay. That's great. Yeah. Same with people, but I think even more, diluted when we're talking about dogs. So that's good. Let me ask you about one that I have no idea if it's good for animals. We have a blend called Breathe. It's actually my favorite oil, so I'm surprised I don't know this. We use it for allergy symptoms just to help open airways. It's great if you have just an ongoing cough to put on your throat, bottom of the feet to promote sleep at night. I love Breathe oil, but I can't even think of how I might use it for my dog.
So Breathe would be amazing if your dog contracted kennel cough, which is a condition, Bordetella. And we vaccinate for Bordetella, but it's kind of like the flu. So Bordetella has like 17 different strains, and we're only vaccinating for like 3 of them. So, and it's as a dog person, when I'm running a kennel, or if I'm going to people's homes or whatever, it's something that I really am careful about because it spreads so easily. It's very highly contagious. So to support them if they contract it, Breathe would be an amazing essential oil. If you remember, probably 2 years ago in this country, especially in the South, we had an outbreak of canine influenza. And it was a respiratory influenza, and they didn't have a vaccine for it yet because it was a different strain than what we actually vaccinate for. Breathe would have been an amazing essential oil to help support that as well, because a lot of dogs they had a hard time breathing, and they got very congested. So, a little bit on the bottom of the paws or diffused, I think would have been amazing to help them with that. I didn't know about Breathe at the time 2 years ago when that was going on. Otherwise, I would have definitely used it.
Okay, that's really great. And we already talked about digestion and how to use that. And then I think that's totally the same. People, animals, I think we have, there's a lot of.
Yeah, and if they don't want to ingest digestin, rubbing it on their tummy. I've actually had people, because it kind of smells like black licorice, that don't like that taste or don't like the smell of it. So I'll rub it on their belly, and they say it works just as amazingly that way as well. So.
Okay, perfect. All right, last one, ask you about lemon oil. Lemon's one of my favorites, and I know that in the kit that you curated for us at the end, you included wild orange, and I know they're very similar. So can you tell me, lemon oil, it's just uplifting to the mood, super good for like anything we're cleaning, anything sticky, great for just promoting healthy digestive and cleansing. How about dogs?
So the one of the things about lemon is it's very clarifying. So sometimes one of the problems we have with dogs is that um, they'll get pine tar on them, or they'll get that greasy coat. And lemon and wild orange are amazing for breaking through that and clarifying that coat. The other thing about lemon that wild orange doesn't have is that lemon is actually a body balancer. So it balances and brings your blood levels to neutral. So if they're acidic, like if they're getting bad dog food, or if they're eating table scraps, that can make them acidic. And what lemon does is it balances them back to a more neutral, but it also balances like your endocrine system, your hormones. It's a balancer. So that's why lemon is amazing to have for you as a person, but also as a pet. And you can add that into water. You can add that into um, canned dog food, so that they can get it internally. And you can also diffuse it as well. So lemon is photosensitive, so you probably don't want to stick it directly on the coat, because I have seen it. I have seen it take a black dog and kind of like when you used to stick lemon on your hair and go sit out in the sun and it would make it more blonde. Yeah, I've seen it actually do that to a dog's coat before. So you want to be careful about doing that. So.
Oh, yeah, again, things I wouldn't have thought of. That's awesome. If you had a dog that was like just kind of greasy and you wanted to just, take some of that out of their coat, would it be okay to use a citrus oil at night on their coat, and then they could go outside during the day?
Yeah, it will dissipate by then for sure. What I usually do is I take wild orange and I will add it to my shampoo that I'm shampooing them with, and I use an all natural base shampoo. So it's a coconut based shampoo, and I'll just add it to that, and it's amazing how it clarifies that coat and just makes it non-greasy after a while. So
Awesome. Okay, good. All right. Now, so we've talked through all of our top 10 oils, and we have a little something for you guys to do if you'll participate. We would love for you. Oh, I screen shared. Yeah, you can see this picture again, right? So I'd love
yeah.
if you'll just take a note and write down 3 things, either you, your pet, like things you're really thinking about and working on in your family. We really want to make sure when we're following up with you that we're following up on how we can serve you and what ideas you have. And of course, April has a zillion resources. She's an incredible resource. And then we have all kinds of materials and books and different things. So when you're looking at what you're working on, if you don't get the answer today or think of it later, whoever invited you to this class will follow up with you by tomorrow, and then ask you what you're working on and work on it with you too. So please don't skip that. I want to tell you how to purchase essential oils from doTERRA, so you know. The first way is retail. This is the most expensive way. You might actually see a bottle here and there at a pet store or a chiropractor office. It's just typically professional settings. It's the most expensive way to purchase oils. And then the second is wholesale, which is it's like a Costco membership. You pay a $35 fee in the US. I know some people are listening to this in Europe. It's a little different in euros, but you purchase you pay that fee and you get to purchase at wholesale prices for the rest of the year, for a year, which is what we pay as wellness advocates also. And then after you have your membership set up, there's all kinds of extra ways you can save money above and beyond. But one of the first ways you can do that is by choosing a kit. I find that all of our kits include our wholesale costs, or our wholesale membership fees, so they're already a fantastic discount. This kit that we talked through earlier, the top 10 oils with this diffuser, is a fantastic starter kit for both animals and people. And these oils are 5 milliliter sizes. So most of our bottles are 15 milliliters. They have 250 drops of oil in it, so really incredible value. And these are a third of that size at 5 mil. So you have about 85, 90 drops of oils. Still fantastic way to start. And then let me share a couple other kits with you, and then the one that April curated for us. This is the Natural Solutions kit. This is actually the kit that April started with doTERRA. Do you want to share what you love about this kit, why you picked it?
Well, what I really loved about that kit is it kind of gave me, I might be an aromatherapy oil expert and a pet expert, but I'm not a doTERRA expert. So one of the things that I wanted to do is experience a lot of the different things that doTERRA had to offer so that I could talk about it informed. I loved the On Guard the hand wash, the foaming hand wash. That is amazing. And it gave me a good base of oils to start with, which I really loved as well. So
yeah, this is definitely one of our most popular
and
kits.
I love that box.
Right? Yeah, you've got yours right there. I know people love the box. They're like, I need that box, because you do, like, it's so fun to have your oils out on the counter and stuff. Yeah, just this is really designed to make over the medicine cabinet in your home. So it's a really great starter kit. I don't have the prices on here, but I want you to know in the US, this kit is $570. And the other kit that we looked at, this kit is $160. So those are the two kits. And then I really wanted April to curate a kit for you that was specifically, if you really want to focus on your pet, and your dog, like, what should you start with if you want to only focus on your animal? What did she think were the best things? So you'll see on this list some other things that weren't on that we talked through, but we didn't talk about specifically. They're not in the top 10 oils. So the first, she wanted to give you a lot of bang for your buck, and we really talked through this. You'll see there's a diffuser, same thing. It's a beautiful diffuser. That diffuser, right now, it's a special promo, comes with wild orange and lavender. So you're getting a 5 ml of wild orange and lavender. We included coconut oil because, of course, we want you to be able to dilute safely with your pet right away. And I recommend, if you do decide to go with that Healthy Start kit, that you add a bottle of fractionated coconut oil for your dog. Cedarwood, marjoram. Would you tell us why you added those?
Well, cedarwood is amazing for bug control. So flea control, keeps the mosquitoes away, keeps gnats away. And we know that the mosquitoes cause the heartworms. So we want to make sure that we keep mosquitoes away from our pets as well. And it just smells really good as well. So it's very deodorizing to your pet. So if you're going to use it, it just makes them smell amazing. Marjoram is a calming oil, but it also has a lot of other uses as well. But for a calming oil, it's a really great calming oil, and it's also anti-bug, so any kind of fleas and stuff like that. And then peppermint, of course. Peppermint actually.
Wait, I want to ask a question real fast.
Sure.
Marjoram, when I think about it, the first thing that comes to mind is it's really great in massage and for sore muscles. Is this one that we could use topically with because we have a blend that I actually forgot in our top 10 called Deep Blue, and we talked about before, but I forgot. Like, we would probably not use that. It's great on people, but probably not use a lot of that with our dog.
Right. Deep Blue has wintergreen in it, so wintergreen is really, it's amazing for sore muscles, but a little too strong for your pet. So marjoram is amazing oil for sore muscles and stuff like that. I've actually used marjoram and geranium and clary sage in a bathtub before. And when I got out, like, my legs didn't work anymore. That's how relaxed I was. It just made me jello. So.
That's great. We talked about peppermint, so that's on here. Last one on this list that we haven't talked about at all is TerraShield, and actually this is my addition because I was like, oh, I really want this one, and we talked it through, and I love this, and I love it in a spray. It's already diluted in fractionated coconut oil, but TerraShield is one I love people and pets to have anytime during, when there's a lot of bugs. Safe to use topically on the dog. My dad sprays it on his dog's legs when they're hiking, and that's worked really well. it is our bug repellent spray essentially, but it is phenomenal. It's so gentle, people can use it on their plants if they're having an infestation. So really safe to use with animals, and it smells really, really nice. And I've also noticed that it has kind of a mood component to it, that when I'm a little like angsty and people are bugging me and on my nerves, it works really well. And I noticed that with pets too, that it has that very calming impact when people are kind of bugging you. I have a teenager.
It's the
who just
ylang
bugs
ylang
behind
and
us.
the vanilla bean in it. The ylang ylang and the vanilla bean in it are very mood calming, and they shift that mood pretty quick for you. So
Awesome. That is great. So I want to point out one more thing. When you use this, there's your specific link is right down here on the bottom of the screen. So anybody can follow this link. Whoever invited you to this class is the first person you want to work with. They're your wellness advocate, and they're most likely the best person to support you. And if you don't have a wellness advocate and you love animals, April is absolutely amazing and obviously super invested in supporting people. This link, if you click on it, will take you directly to her site, and it will take you to this shopping cart where you can add and take out things. You can put in a kit, however it works for you. We tell people to start with whatever makes the most sense for your family, and whatever really lights you up is the best place to get started. And then you can rely on your wellness advocate in this team absolutely for sure, to follow up with you after you get your oils and make a plan for how to use them in your family and with your pet if that's what you're focused on, and make sure you're very, very well taken care of. And the links are fantastic. I'm going to share something different really quick, and then we're going to give you the blend that April made.
Allie, real quick, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the links. Will that link, do we have to have a different one for Europe?
So, yes.
I mean, I know we can get the same product, but I want it to go where it needs to go.
I'm really glad you said that, because I know we're sharing this in both of our markets, and our Europe market's a little different. What you'll do in Europe is you'll tell your wellness advocate what you want in your first order. They'll set it up for you, and then you'll handle payment directly with doTERRA, either through BankWire or through calling and giving doTERRA your credit card, whatever works best for you. But in Europe, when you're doing your first order, we're not as smooth as we are in the US yet, and that's how you'll handle it. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
Okay, so don't use that link, just set it up yourself and work with the wellness advocate.
Work directly with your wellness advocate.
Okay, thank
and
you.
They can set essentially they'll do the hard work for you.
Okay.
I'll screen share. So in the US, you'll still see this link. It's just not, it's US based. So if you follow April's link, you'll go directly to her cart, and you can see it's very easy here to shop and look at all of our kits and look at all of our products. You can pick and add and choose, and it's a really nice, clean way to explore products. Like if you think, oh, I don't need this or that, I want to add this or that. If you are trying to decide on a wholesale membership or not, if you're going to purchase about $100 of oils in a year, it absolutely makes sense to purchase a kit. And this one she made for you includes your wholesale membership fee, and you'll be able to reorder products the rest of for 25% off of our wholesale pricing. All right, let me screen share my last. Okay, well, let me screen share our last thing, and then we'll take questions. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing, and I want to share this beautiful image with you. So whoever invited you to this class will have this image, and we'll send it to you directly so you have it. And this is one of April's very special blends. Oh, I didn't put it on here, so I need to actually put a different screen share. Sorry, guys. It's so pretty. It is this lovely calming blend that she made. And if you'll see that in her kit that she curated, you'll have all the oils for this. But 3 drops of lavender, wild orange, marjoram, and cedarwood, and you can put them right in a spray bottle. She recommends 8 ounces for this amount, and you'll just shake it up, and you'll have a really nice calming blend that you can use with your pet. if you decide, this is a question, if they decide on like the Healthy Start kit that has the top 10 oils and they don't have marjoram and cedarwood, can they make this blend with just wild orange and peppermint and still get a great result?
Wild
Or
orange
wild
and
orange and
lavender.
lavender, I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah, they'll still get a great result. The marjoram and the cedarwood definitely adds to it, but you'll still get a good result with the lavender and the wild orange. And in that 8-ounce spray bottle, you're going to want to use distilled water and a little bit of pure grain alcohol to help spritz it out. So you're not just going to want those oils in there, but you're going to want some distilled water. You want distilled water because it doesn't have anything else in it. Everything else is killed out of it. And then the alcohol helps to actually make it an aerosol and spray out into the air. So it
Those
helps
are
the oil and the
fantastic.
water mix together so that it'll actually spray.
Perfect. I will actually add that to this image before we send it out to everybody who's on the class. So you have the little addition, because that is a phenomenal part of it. Is your things in water are going to stay in there a really long time, and water, if by itself, gets kind of yucky over time. And so that using distilled water for things like that, if you're making cleaning cloths to use on your dog's coat, we always use distilled water for that stuff. And then the alcohol, like you said, breaks it up. So those are really good pointers. Okay, first, in case anybody's jumping off, thank you so much for joining us. And April, I loved doing this. I learned so much, and I love your expertise, like really clear, concise. I learned things for people and for animals, and I love all the wealth of ideas. And I love that you took the time to do this for us. And I just wanted to thank you again. And we'll just open it up for questions. You can post them in the chat, or you can
I very much appreciate and enjoy doing this with you as well, Allie. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask? Let me look at chat. We don't have any questions. Everybody learned a million things.
I'm trying to post something in chat, it won't let me.
Oh no.
Says
Do you want to
not
just
active.
ask us, Will?
Yeah, it says chat disabled.
Yeah,
Oh no. Okay, there we go. Does it work now?
yes, but do you want me to ask it since you got me here?
Yes, I do.
Okay. My question was really, you talked about applying to the dog's coat. I assume it's just to the coat. Do you have to apply it directly on the skin, or just as applying it to the fur work if it's something that you're doing topically?
It depends on what we're talking about, that we're doing topically. So is it if it's for like the hip dysplasia and you're wanting to do like a muscle massage, you're going to want to get closer into the skin. But if it's more like repelling bugs or fleas or anything like that, then on the fur is fine. And of course, the thicker the dog's fur is, the harder it's going to be to get that in there. Right. If you have a short coated dog, then it's a lot easier to get it, in there closer to the skin. So.
And my only other question is, and then I'll let anybody else, is there anything that we should be concerned about making sure that we don't use on the dog or use near them? I mean, is there something that would be dangerous that could cause them to be sick, or?
No, like I said, your dog will let you know what they like and what they don't like. They're very opinionated about that, and they're going to let you know. There is some essential oils that you don't want to use on a pregnant dog, but most of us don't have pregnant dogs, so that's not something we really need to get into. But other than that, essential oils are very safe with dogs. You just got to make sure they're diluted, just like you would with a baby or an older person, because their skin's more sensitive than ours is.
Okay, great. Thanks, April. I really enjoyed this call and learned quite a bit.
Thank you, Will. Does anybody else have questions? Oh, look at Bubba.
All right, well then we are going to wrap this up if nobody has any. Oh, Anne's raising your hands.
So I have a question, and maybe this is what the calming spray would be best for, but my dog, my white German Shepherd, it seems to be really nervous these days. I mean, she leans. I can't even walk around in my kitchen because she's in the middle of the kitchen. Don't leave me, Mom. So is the calming spray, and I apologize, couldn't get on the call, had technical difficulties. So is the calming spray a good thing to use for that? Because she's just tense, nervous.
Like more anxiety.
Yes, high in anxiety.
I would probably try diffusing it in the house first, Anne, and
Okay.
see how she reacts to it. And if that's not the right combination, we can tweak it and
Okay.
see what the good combination would be. And that's one of the advantages of having a wellness advocate. You're not just buying a kit, you're buying my ability to tweak things for you or for you to get advice from. And that's one of the nice things. And then I would diffuse that. And then if you wanted to use the spray, I would do it when she's already calm. Maybe she's like laying down taking a nap or something. And then maybe spray it on your hands and rub it on her so that she doesn't associate that with more anxiety. She's going to associate that with a calming time. So, and I think that'll help a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. All right. Thank you guys again so much for joining us, and we will be following up with you, and you'll hear from us and get any extra support that you need. And thank you so much. And thank you, April. Like, so great. I know this will be the first of many to come, but just really, really appreciate your expertise and sharing it with the whole team.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Allie. Thank you,
Ciao.
everybody, for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.